Alright guys, so let's talk a little bit about the terminal. What is the terminal? A terminal is also known as the command line. It allows us to interact with the computer without using the graphical user interface. The terminal is really powerful. You can do whatever you might think of through the terminal. You can create, copy, delete, move, directories, files. And the reason why we will be using most of the job through the terminal, because the tools in here, most of them don't have graphical user interface, and the graphical user interface, many times it's buggy, so the terminal is less buggy than the graphical user interface. And that actually what many hackers do. I mean, you can't call yourself a hacker that if you don't know the terminal or if you don't know how to use the terminal. You might not be familiar with this, it's okay, no problem, you will get used to it in time, just don't rush yourself. And now this is the terminal that comes pre-installed in Kali, but for me I like to use the Terminator. It's up to you, whatever you want to use you can go for it. But the Terminator has a little bit more preferences, and that's why I like to use it more. And I'll talk about the terminal now in a bit. So to download the Terminator, sudo apt update Kali. And now because we are using the Kali user, we are not using the root user, we need to give it the sudo. So the root user is the highest privileges user in all Linux system. Whenever you become root, you'll be able to even delete the entire system. You can do whatever you might think of in the system. But if you are a normal user or if you are a Kali user, you won't be able to do many things. You won't be able to do harm things. So this is it now. To download the Terminator, let me become root and show you what's the difference. Sudo su. You give sudo su to become root. And now we are root now. So sudo su makes you root. And by the way, when you type a password, you won't be able to see it. So this is in Linux, it's kind of privacy. So after being root, apt get install Terminator. And now I have it already installed, but if you are not root, if you are a normal user, you need to give it the sudo space apt-get install Terminator. And this should install it for you. And let me show you here. This is Terminator. So this is the Terminator. Let me go to preferences. Okay. So here on the profiles, we have a profile section. Here you can add a profile. You can set options. You can create modifications for each profile, and you can switch between them through the terminal. You don't have to go to the options. Like let me create it here, like solid. Now, if we go to the background, here we have solid color. So I want to keep it. I want to keep this profile as solid, or you can keep a transparent background like this, so you can see through the terminal. Or you can even use an image. You can set an image on the terminal. In the colors here, you can use the system, use color system, or you can choose whatever you want. I want to use the green on black on this specific theme. And here, commands, general, nothing pretty much. On the key binding section here, we have some options, some shortcuts. For me, I like to keep the horizontal shift up, shift up, and vertical shift right. This is me, so whatever you want, you can set them to. Nothing pretty much. So let's get into the commands. This is profile, this is the solid, this is default. Yeah. So pwd, our first command, stands for print working directory, like show me where am I in the terminal. Hit enter and see now we are in the home Kali directory. This is the home and this is the Kali directory. So to see what is inside this directory, do ls stands for list contents of a directory. Now we see the same directories in here are also in here. Now let's say we want to go to the documents. So we do cd. Cd stands for change directory. Cd documents, doc, and if you want you can auto-complete it. Press tab, it will auto-complete it for you, or type it all. Cd documents, now we are in the documents directory. We do ls again, there's nothing in the documents, as you can see. Now let's say we want to create a directory inside this document. So we do mkdir to make a directory, and let's call it test. Let's call it test. So we have this directory called test in here. So let's create a file inside this directory. So we do cd test, enter. Now we are in this directory now. So let's create a file. We can use touch or we can use echo. Doesn't matter. I'll use echo for now. Echo greater sign and the name of the file now. I'm gonna call it my password.txt. What's the content of this my password.txt? I'm gonna call it my super passwords. I keep misspelling. Enter. And as you can see now we created this one and inside it this one my super passwords. So let's say that we want to delete this file. What do? We do rm my tab auto completed and we deleted it. So let's say we want to delete this directory. We do cd, we go back because we can't delete it if we are in it, like just like normal using the graphical user interface. Like you can't delete it if you are in it, so that's why you go back and then you right click and then you go move to trash, right? Or delete. So in here we do cd dot dot, just like going back, hit enter. Now we are in the documents. We do rm dash r test. Now we give it the argument dash r because it's a directory, it's not a file. Hit enter, it's gone. Now if you don't know or if you might forget the usage of a specific command, you use the man, which stands for manual. So let's say man rm, it shows us how to use this command. You go down, like you see the dash f force, ignore files and arguments and never prompt. Dash I, dash capital I, prompt once before removing. You can use the dash dash and you can give it the full word, or you can use dash and the alphabet. Now this is the R that we just used, so remove directories and their contents recursively. Dash D, remove empty directories. So that's pretty much. You can spend time with it, include this website. So for in here, you can give it the command that you want and it will explain it to you. Like let's talk about cat. Cat command allows you to read files. Like you see that the file that we created my passwords, so we can read it through the terminal using the cat. So if we typed cat my passwords.txt or whatever, it will shows us the content of that file in the terminal. And hit enter. Now as you can see, concentrate files and print on the standard output. If we do ls-la, this shows us the permissions for the directories and their date. List directory contents, use long listing format. Do not ignore entire listing starting with, like, let me show if it's not so clear. I'll show you in here. So I press Q to quit. Now if we go back one more time, we are in here. So ls-la. As you can see, we can here see the permissions, we can see the users, we can see the size, and we can see the date. And this directories, which it has dot, starts with dot, these are hidden directories, so we can't see them. And that's right, actually. That's correct. We can't see the dot face. There's no dot face in here. Dot java, dot gnupg. Now let me show you how to move directories to another location. Like let's say we created, as you remember in the documents, we created a directory in here. So let's say that we want to move it to the desktop, for example. So where we are now, we are here, cd documents, dir test. So let's say that we want to move this directory to the desktop. So mv test, go to home. Where is the desktop? The desktop is in the home, Kali desktop. And let's say now we want to copy. So let's create another file. So mkdir123. Now we want to copy this file. We want to copy this directory to the desktop. So we do cp. Cp stands for copy. cp123 space, give it the directory home, Kali desktop. Actually, I forgot the dash r. Sorry. cp-r123 home, Kali desktop. And we copied the directory to the desktop. So as I said, now if you forget a command, that's the best way to remember how to use this command. You can use the man, or you can use help, like let's say cp dash dash help. Now this one shows you the usage of the content. It's similar to man, so it doesn't matter. You can use man or you can use dash dash help. Now as I said, you don't have to memorize them all. You will memorize them while you are using them. So don't overwhelm yourself. You'll get used to it in time.